2 days, 6 games. You can focus on them all. You can make money on them all. And then you can get it going again for the next game. Nurse the hangover. Get ready for the Natty. Best weekend in sports. Well,
Whoa.
Second to March Madness first weekend. So, Steve, tell me, I go March Madness first weekend first, and then I go Wild Card weekend second. You're telling me there's a better weekend in sports.
Yes, this is going to be interesting, okay? Because we haven't had this one yet. 2 triple headers, back-to-back days. But I'm not a March Madness guy. I'm the week before March Madness, conference championship week, where everybody's, winning titles and getting into the tournament. Those games mean more to me than the first round of the NCAA tournament. You're getting, another Duke Carolina, or a Duke Virginia rematch possibly.
Thank you.
In that. So I'm a week before March Madness NCAA tournament guy more than March Madness. But this, yes, I actually liked next week in the NFL as my favorite because the quality of games is better and you're getting the highest seeds.
Right.
But we haven't had this where there's only 2 teams in the whole sport getting buys and we're adding games because I think we touched on this Sunday night because I'm skeptical of this new format because we already know there's division games in week 17. That's how they're going to be.
Right.
And if we're just going to get rematches of week 17, I don't want that.
They should put a clause in there where either they move the 17s or that you're not allowed to play a team consecutively 2 weeks in a row. And the seeding changes because you're right. It's just it's cool for a couple teams. I could see back in the day, I could not overdose on Ravens Steelers or Steelers Bengals.
The best.
You know what I mean? Or Niners Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
In the Cap era. But this stuff
Seahawks
here,
Rams.
Yeah. I mean, this Seahawks Rams a little bit different. So you said it last week, spot the one blowout.
Yeah.
I think obviously everybody thinks it's the Saints. That's what makes me nervous about that game. We'll see if we stay away from that one. I've got one that I feel pretty good about. I can lead off with this week.
Okay.
And maybe this is a problem. You can get Seattle and LA. You can get that total right now at 42.5. You don't have to buy that half. I really like that. I don't see how they score. If Jared Goff's supposed to play out, I almost think that's a negative. Because he's going to be trying to gut it out. I mean, he just had surgery on his thumb. Okay, as a guy who's had thumb issues, it's just you don't know how it's going to feel.
They never get better
when that splint gets hit the first time. And gripping the football. What if it's wet this weekend? I don't know. You're the weather guy.
Seattle rain.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Right, it always rains.
Yeah, every day. Sleepless in Seattle. It's a great movie. Do you remember Sleepless in Seattle?
I do. That's right when the internet started, right?
Exactly.
Dial-up connection. You like Meg Ryan?
In the 90s. I haven't seen her lately.
No, that's what I'm saying. I wasn't a big Meg Ryan guy.
Yeah, no. Well, I wasn't a big Sleepless in Seattle guy, to be honest. I just wanted to bring the movie up.
You brought it up.
So I like the under there. I just don't see how they get going. The Rams have the best defensive football. The shame of it is they've led defensive categories in all 3 major scoring total, etc. So there's most teams that have hit all 3 buckets there make deep playoff runs. I'm afraid it's going to be wasted this year, but the points will stay down.
All right, let's go Buffalo. We'll start there. It's the first game. It's Saturday. People are asking, where's the ups? Because there's a question my partner, the Bear, and I discussed on our podcast, Chris, is, everybody is taking a Buffalo, Washington, and New Orleans teaser. Who's going to screw that up? So basically you're teasing everybody just to win the game. I think out of that group, I think the Colts are up there because of their offensive line. I think they could, keep this control. Obviously, I think it's going to be 6,000 Maniac fans. They cannot bring their tables in to Buffalo.
Yeah.
But I think when you think about the playoffs, there's always like road teams win here.
Yeah.
And I think Indy has the formula out of those teams because they can run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They have a veteran at quarterback. They just can't put the game in his hands. And what I mean by that is if they fall behind, I think they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Because let's just face it, Phil can't do what he used to do.
Right.
And I just look at, these three guys, because it feels like they're going to be all brought up in the same. Like you look at Rivers, Big Ben, and Breeze. Like it feels like they're all their last stands.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you're going to get an effort, you're going to get it out of the Colts. Frank Reich is going to have a game plan going up to Buffalo. I gotta feel like he's been, looked over for that head coaching job a couple times, right?
Yeah.
He's going to be motivated. I think the Colts are going to be motivated. But I can't go against Buffalo, man.
I know. It's
I can't do it. I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
The Cole Beasley thing is enormous.
Right.
Enormous.
Yeah, it's big, and it doesn't look like he's going to play.
Yeah. But I'll say Buffalo. I'm also going to ride the Buffalo first half thing again. Like I'm not getting off of that.
I would ride the first half, but I'm not going to take Buffalo for the game. Not giving that many points.
So do that. Give me Buffalo first half. We did it last week. We gave it out winner.
Okay, Buffalo first half. I feel better about that as a team here. I'm glad.
33 degrees at kickoff, just in case you were wondering.
Yeah, that's going to be real playoff football. I just can't wait to see we haven't had enough breath coming out of the face mask this year yet.
That's a great call.
Have we not?
Well,
I don't feel
coaches. Does the mask affect things?
Yeah, but on the field, I want to see Derrick. What was one of the coolest things was
I want to see Quentin Nelson with turf burns.
I want to see Derrick Henry breathing smoke like he's just been vaping. Just the vape god on the field.
How does Quentin Nelson fit those elbow sleeves over his arms?
I don't know. They're huge. His arms are huge.
Do you know a kid? Did I never tell you his order at Chipotle?
Nah.
So the kid that used to work for us went to Notre Dame and was his class.
Yeah.
So at Chipotle, Quentin Nelson orders 2 burritos, double meat, both double meat.
No, he doesn't. Each sitting.
Yes.
Dog, that
is insane.
So massive.
Oh.
God, I don't even want to think about the other end, bro. Like just coming out the other end, the Chipotle. When you double up on the Chipotle, it's risky to single up on Chipotle.
Yeah.
They made a South Park episode about that. you eat two Chipotles with double meat, my goodness. You're out there pancaking people.
Can you imagine being behind? I'm like,
yes, sir. Do you want them for free, sir?
Like, just imagine the door opening, the jingle on the door with the bell, and it's like, oh, God, here he comes again.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You think he's a black bean or a pinto bean guy?
Black.
Yeah. He said no hesitation there. What about pico or the green salsa?
I go pico and hot salsa.
I love the green salsa.
I love the pico.
Anyways, where were we? I don't
know.
Hey, we were on Quentin Nelson ordering.
Quentin Nelson. Bill's first half.
You got Bill's first half. I have the under in the LA Seattle game, which I'm sure a lot of the money and the bets are on. But on the other end of that, I have noticed that a lot of people are on the Bucs, and that surprises me because to me, maybe I'm overvaluing Washington, but they found a way to win since Alex been in the lineup. I mean, they really have. You just look at the games that they have won and lost. Alex Smith hadn't been in the lineup for a bunch of them. Devin White, if he makes the game at this point, he'll be coming off a lot of, he's going to have to shake a lot of rust off. That front four, we've talked about it, the Chase Young thing, the Tom Brady thing. It's your best chance to beat Brady. Although, I don't know why, it's kind of counterintuitive, but I kind of like the Bucs first half. I like the Bucs first half. Usually you think about Tom getting hit early and that sort of thing. I think they emphasize coming out hot, but I think that game tightens late. And I like Washington getting at least 8. I mean, I've seen it anywhere from 8
I've seen 8.5 today.
Yeah. You can get it. You can get it up there if you get a touchdown. If you can get 7.5, even if this thing shrinks a little bit, I still like Washington. I think it's going to be a tight football game. Give me the football team.
Okay. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
You know this narrative about Tom Brady,
narratives.
how you beat Tom Brady? How do you beat Tom Brady?
Rushing 4.
Yeah, but then there's always I love this one, but you got to get it up the middle. You got to get him off his spot.
Well,
what fucking quarterback is good when they put him off your spot?
Only a couple.
Who's good with pressure in their face? That's what I want to know.
Nobody, but Tom.
It's unbelievable.
The thing what makes it easy is, Tom is not moving a lot right now. So anybody who's not a deep drop guy, and your 3 technique moves the guard back 5 yards, I mean, it's going to be a problem for them. So, when you got a guy like Tom, you just stick to the basic tenets. Don't blitz him. And you hope you can get some inside push, but you'd hope that against anybody. To your point, To your point,
I just see this the narrative like, oh, you got to get Brady, you got to get pressure on his face, up the middle, and get him off his spot. Like, all right, yeah, like do that against every quarterback,
Sounds
and you're never gonna lose.
The only person it doesn't work against is Patrick Mahomes because he's sitting back there
Russell.
at 11 yards anyways, and Russell.
Yeah.
I
like the under in this game. I feel I totally agree with you on that thing, on the idea of Bucs first half and then it getting a little bit tight. Can Washington run the football consistently? Gibson has not been right since the turf toe. They do a good job of mixing the guy Barber in there with McKissick out of the backfield. But can they move the chains? Can they control the game and force it to get tight early on and keep it that way? I don't know. To me, this also, Chris, feels like it's going to be 45 degrees. It's a night game. Like this feels like a terrible surface game.
Yeah.
Like, is Antonio Brown going to be running clean routes? What's his new name? Gronkitis. They call him Gronkitis
is that what his
now.
name is?
Yeah, I guess somebody started calling him Gronkitis. I'm like, whoa.
Do we need the backstory?
Right. Yeah, no. He said he likes it. Whatever. But it just feels like a bad track game. And like, can Antonio Brown, because he's been really good lately, but it has been against Detroit and a not great Atlanta secondary. So it's really interesting. I do worry about Washington offensively because I think Tampa's got enough talent defensively where they can make Washington really uncomfortable. We know how up against the wall. So I like the under in this game. I feel I'm really interested to see how the Buccaneers come out, knowing what's at stake, knowing everybody thought they were going to get here.
Yeah.
But nobody thought they were going to be on a road game against the NFC East. Like if you ask everybody who's going to make the playoffs, Tampa's going to make the playoffs. We really thought they were going to play an under 500 team at Saturday night.
I don't think so. And I look at this, though, as the matchup they didn't want. We talked about this out of the two probably. And then also look back at the Chicago game early in the year. And, of course, the Bucs were in a lot different place. They're better now, which is why I think they win this game. Same type of game, in my opinion. Same type of game. Not comparing Chicago and Washington. They're not the same teams, but – an Alex Smith offense that's run efficiently, hopefully, and you get the backs involved. McLaurin's done a really nice job. Logan Thomas is all of a sudden some, tight end superstar.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of weapons. I think at first glance you might say, well, Chicago has more. Chicago hung right in there. It wasn't a high-scoring game, so I like your under pick, and I like Washington to cover. So who you got next?
I'm going to go Sunday. You mentioned it, New Orleans and Chicago. I think this, I know Trubisky's put up a ton of numbers. But it's, we talked about how bad the teams were that he did against. You go to Green Bay, or they play Green Bay, and in it for a while. But I think I like the under here. I've talked about how I worry about Drew Brees all year. I mentioned before, this is the old guy's last stand. This is one of them. This is Brees. I think Chicago can definitely make New Orleans uncomfortable. Can Montgomery get going? New Orleans feels like the most unsung defense of the year. We know what the talent, Cam Jordan even though he went to Cal, I still think the world of him as a player. And I like what New Orleans secondary, and what they've done. And I think they match up well against Chicago. I think they make Trubisky look very uncomfortable. I think it's a slow, methodical Kamara out of the backfield game. Breeze, taking care of things. I think a big game for Jared Cook, big spot here. And I'm just pumped I get to watch Cole Kmet, the tight end for the Bears, again for another week, because I think this dude is an absolute superstar.
The Bears.
His arms are enormous.
Does he have big arms?
Oh, God, dude. The dude is yoked, man.
You're having a Romo moment.
He's
Look at this guy's arms.
Fired up for it. Yeah. No, it's huge.
Well, you know what? We've talked about this before.
This
Nobody has better superstar potential than a tight end from Notre Dame in the city of Chicago.
You're right.
So
You're right.
The under there. The one thing I worry about there is New Orleans losing Quan Alexander, and the difference. You just mentioned Cole Kmet. I would look for him to have a big game. I mean, tight ends have gotten off more before Quan was there in New Orleans. The middle of defense there, Malcolm Jenkins has played better with Quan there. So, I mean, it's a big question mark. It sucks that they have to find out the answer the first week of the playoffs, but I think they have enough buffer to handle business there against the Bears. So I like that. And I'm a little lukewarm on the under, but I'm trusting my guy. So I'll go 3 here, and this might be my most confident pick. I don't know what I was thinking Sunday night. I'm looking back and I'm saying to myself, at first glance, I said this is going to be a tough one for Tennessee to handle. They're home dogs. This is their spot, okay? I'm being reactionary, looking at their defense because it can be so off-putting. Baltimore does not have the thing it takes to maximize that weakness, exploiting that weakness, which is throwing the ball outside the numbers, okay? Like, I know this is a broken record thing, and Lamar and those guys have played a lot better in the second half of the season or after that slump. But if you look at their numbers and attempts, 10 air yards or more outside the numbers, left and right, take away the screens, the swing passes, that sort of thing. He's got one of the worst ratings in the league, and they don't try it a lot. So, if that's where you got to live to just dominate the Titans, I don't see it happening as much this weekend. I think this game's tight. I think it's in phase. I think if you wanted to play the revenge card, you had that opportunity week 11.
Yeah.
And Tennessee also played poorly. If you remember that game, a bunch of third and longs. That's not where Tennessee wants to live. Tannehill throws a pick early. Tannehill's overthrowing people left and right. You had the fumbled snap in the red zone. There's a lot they did to give that game to Baltimore, including going down 21-10. So, in my opinion, that was the game you had a chance. So even if Tennessee loses, I think this is a tight football game. Give me the Titans +4 by the half, just for the fuck of it.
I know everybody's going to talk about, and it is talking about, Lamar against that Titans defense and the revenge, and he's been awesome with his words this week. Not shying away from everything. I look on the other side of the ball. This is the most healthy Baltimore's defense has been. I think they need to win with their defense. So I'm not sure they can, because I love. Like you said, Tannehill in this spot, man, is just, it feels like it's Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Like he's always here, man.
Yeah.
But I'm really interested in Baltimore's defense, because them, like the Bears, have gotten hot late, but haven't played anybody. They had a bunch of get right games, and they got it right against those all non-playoff teams. So Baltimore's defense is the key, is what I'll be watching in that one. I said I'm pumped. ESPN got this game I think it's the best game of the weekend.
Oh, and you're right. It's a great game.
And I'm just happy the Texans or Cincinnati's not involved, because that's usually who we get. But this is awesome.
Here's the deal, man. Like, I think when you look at these two teams, look at the way that game ended in November. The last 2 touchdowns for Tennessee. A.J. Brown catches the ball at the 9-yard line on a slant. He breaks 4 tackles. He gets hit for the first time at the 9-yard line, right? He breaks 4 tackles and drags a defender in the end zone. Bully ball, right?
Yeah.
The game-winning touchdown, 29 yards, overtime. Derrick Henry running away from people, wearing them down, and just the knockout punch. Bully ball. They're the bullies, and until the Ravens can prove that they're the bullies, and this has been a 2-year project trying to prove that you're a bully when you're standing eye to eye with somebody, this is your chance. For the 5th time, this is your chance, right? And this is probably their last chance until people start calling them frauds, like out loud. Like, this year it's been, hey, the Ravens have got to prove something. If they don't win this game, they're in danger of being called frauds out loud.
No doubt.
So that might bode well for your point. The Ravens might be backed up against the wall. The defense might, and all that. But I like the under, but give me the Titans. So what's the college game of the week, Steve?
It's called the National Championship, Chris.
No.
Yeah.
Does anybody
still
care?
Absolutely.
I'm just thinking about pro football, bro. No offense to college football right now.
Oh God!
Sorry.
There we go. At least you didn't say it's Virginia basketball season.
I'm not worried about basketball right now, including Virginia basketball. No offense, but I like Ohio State. Whatever the line is.
It's 8 right now. It's 75. I lean Ohio State in the under. Obviously, there's been a lot of rumors about COVID and possibly this game getting out. So I love both offenses. Love Sark as a play caller. Love Ryan Day. They're both absolute assassins. Foot is on the gas nonstop. Guys that create mismatches, whether it's throwing a formation in the boundary and using the field for one-on-one stuff, throwing out of run sets. Like it is as good as it gets when it comes to play callers. But that's high. 75 for a national championship game. I think both teams like to run the ball enough to have that clock run a little bit. So I would say Ohio State in the under right now.
I like the over, and I like Ohio State.
Okay.
I'm afraid of watching two college football teams. I've learned my lesson, and hoping they don't score points. It's like it's just
unless Matt Campbell's involved.
Yeah, Matt Campbell, he knows how to pump the brakes, and I appreciate him for that. I love the guy. I might get on some HGH, change my name, and go back and play for Matt Campbell wherever he ends up next. I love that. But yeah, usually I'm just not betting unders anymore in college football. I'm just not doing it.
Right.
Yeah, give me Ohio State as well, though. That'll be fun. But you think Bama wins the game?
I do. I think there's the idea. Like I said, there's this rumor. Fields is fine. He is not hurt. Like I know people are talking about Ohio State's trying to get this game pushed back because of Fields and the hit he took in the Sugar Bowl. It's not that. Like they actually do have some cases. On their thing. So
you think it's possible this game gets pushed back?
I don't. I think it's set.
Just have to deal with the case.
They did say that there is a pushback day. Like if it does get pushed back, it's a week to the following Monday. So I like Ohio State. But yeah, Bama win the game, field goal game.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be tight. I mean, what a journey for like an 11th ranked team in the country to come this far. I mean, no matter how it ends, you just have to be happy for these kids. They're like a mid-major.
I don't like NFL Chris. I like college Chris.
I'm just being anti-Dabo Chris right now.
I know you are.
Yeah. So, I mean, he can go bowling, vent some of his frustration out at the nice bowling alley they have down there in Clemson.
You can get on that TikTok with his drip.
Oh, the drip. Oh, do you have drip?
No.
No drip.
No drip.
This is No Drip Podcast.
No.
This podcast is No Drip Zone. Like the No Fly Zone, No Drip Zone.